Is Anthony Albanese, and in Adelaide, Christopher Pyne. Anthony's chuckling, but I'm going to go first to Christopher Pyne. Is this about China, Christopher?
Well, Sylvia, good morning. No, the foreign interference laws are kind of the first of their kind in the world, which is really interesting, and other countries are watching to see what we're doing. There's obviously been a heightened concern about espionage and foreign interference from all countries around the world that partake in those kinds of activities, and these laws are not directed at China or any specific nation. They're directed at protecting Australia's interests. I live in Adelaide, as you know, and of course because of our submarines and shipbuilding activities here, we've become a hot spot for foreign espionage. So we need to get our laws clear and consistent, and that's what Christian Porter and before him George Brandis have been doing, working with the Labor Party in a bipartisan way. How
vulnerable do you think our July by-elections are?
Look, these laws and the by-elections are not linked at all. The foreign
Then why the rush to get them through before the recess?
Well, there's no rush. We've been discussing these laws since last November, December, when George Brandis first put them on the table. And there's been a long committee process which has been gone through with Labor and the crossbenchers, and this is where we've arrived at, increasing the public interest protections for journalists, for example, ensuring that civil liberties are protected, but more importantly protecting Australia's national interests. And that's not a rush. It's been an 8-9 month process.
OK, Anthony, will Labor support these laws in their current form before the recess?
Well, there's agreement on the first of the pieces of legislation, and that has been a lengthy process. These laws were introduced last December. What happened was last night Christian Porter forwarded some amendments for the second bill that also went too far, needed some amendments. There's no question about that, but he only forwarded them to Labor last night. So we'll give them due consideration. We'll work with the government. These laws and national security needs to be above politics. They need to be dealt with in a bipartisan way. That's the spirit in which we enter the negotiations. And I think, frankly, Christopher is right. The by-elections are taking place again. And they don't need. I think.
Well, the by-elections are taking place.
Well, any idea that somehow there's foreign interference in these by-elections, I think, is a headline looking for some substance.
All right. Well, on the by-elections, Albo, they are looking like they're going to be a big worry for Bill Shorten. The polling hasn't been good up until this point. If they don't go as planned, if they don't work out well for the Labor Party, are you going to make a move for the leadership?
I'm just working to ensure that we win those by-elections, and indeed after this morning I'll be heading to Burnie in the electorate of Braddon in Tasmania. I'll be in Devonport tonight.
He's very active.
And I'll be campaigning for Justine Kay to make sure that she gets elected. Earlier this week I was with Susan Lamb in Longman. She's a great candidate.
Making your presence felt in all of the by-elections, a crucial thing.
I'm doing my bit to make sure that we win every one of those by-elections.
Is Bill Shorten doing his bit?
As is Bill Shorten, as is the entire Labor team.
Bill is sneezing in Albo's general direction in the hope he catches a flu.
Quickly, news about Katy Gallagher this morning, making another run or re-entering.
Well, it's good news that Katy Gallagher will be making an announcement today. I've certainly welcomed her recontesting as a senator for the ACT. Katy Gallagher was making an outstanding contribution. She has more to contribute, and I'm sure that everyone in Labor's leadership team will welcome that.
OK, very quickly, gentlemen, because we do have to wrap things up. We're talking about a sugar tax on the agenda segment later on this morning. Christopher, would the government support a sugar tax?
Well, Sylvia, look, where do you end? If you have a sugar tax on drinks, on fizzy drinks, do you then have a sugar tax on hot chips? Do you have a sugar tax on potato chips, lollies, chocolates, Dagwood dogs? I mean, this is where governments have to seriously consider these issues before rushing into them. I do think the public needs to know that the sugary drinks that they're drinking, even orange juice, are full of sugar, and sugar, in many respects, is the enemy of good health, and obesity, of course, is one of the major causes of too much sugar intake. But whether government should be taxing these these particular products, where do you draw the line?
And Albo, Labor's take on this?
Look, I think certainly we are consuming too much sugar. There's no doubt about that. Per capita, we intake much more than other nations, and we need to look at healthy diets. But we also need to look at the impact of taxes, who it's hitting, and whether it's hitting working people who are already struggling to make ends meet. So we would look very cautiously at any proposal.
Sounds like a big fat no from both of you at this stage to a sugar tax. Gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us this morning. We appreciate your time,
Good
and
to be
may you
with
both
you.
enjoy a tax-free Dagwood dog this weekend. We'll
Thanks,
see you again
Sylvia.
next week, Carl.
Lollies for all.
Yeah.
What?
That's fair enough.
Weirdo.
Say yes to that.
That's good policy.
Well,